Thank you very much for that generous introduction. Let me begin by this rhetorical question that I'll ask you. Which of these two pictures would you consider normal as far as a typical rural school in a village is concerned? Chances are, if you were raised in a village like I was, and you attended a village elementary school, you are likely to look at these pictures and say, they all look normal, because these are common sight as far as rural schools are concerned. As I scanned through the audience today, I could tell most of you are raised in cities. So you guys are the voters. So if I ask you, which of these functions is normal, which one is odd, chances are most of you are going to say the first one is odd because it has skills underneath pre-learning. Some people would argue the second one is normal. Whichever category you belong, be it the voters or the Akkos like me, as you want to call it, we can all agree that none of these two pictures depicts a conducive learning atmosphere. It's absolutely no. You see, the problem is this has become a common sight as far as rural schools are concerned. And for some reason, they have become the norms. And this is exactly what happens in society today. When something is a norm for a long period of time, we tend to get used to it. After this abnormalcy becomes the new norm. And this is exactly my motivation for doing the work that I do. I am really passionate about promoting grassroots education in rural communities. And so over the years, I've championed initiatives aimed at creating a conducive learning atmosphere for kids like these in rural schools. What I intend to do today is to share with you an idea, a thought, an idea that I believe is capable of transforming our society in a sustainable way. An idea that revolves around the concept of leadership. An idea that I would like to call learning as a way of living. And I intend to do this by highlighting three important learning experiences in my quest for promoting grassroots education. The year was 2015, and I had just returned from my studies. I was excited with this thought of wanting to give back to my community, and I needed to do something as far as promoting education is concerned. So I went into this local school in a village where I was living at the time, in Gombe, it was a few of 12 from one of the and I noticed most of the classrooms are not furnished. So I was excited. I went on talking to different individuals in the community, different people trying to get their support so we can furnish this particular school. Surprisingly, people didn't buy the idea. And I still remember how frustrated I was that why is it that people cannot see what I'm trying to do? Why is it that people cannot support this initiative? You see, the problem is people didn't support it because they didn't think there was a problem in the first place. Why? Because having or not having enough furniture in rural schools has become the norm. I almost gave up on that idea, but I took a different approach. I realized that most clergies have a lot of influence as far as our communities are concerned. So I identified a clergy in the community, discussed this idea with the clergy, and this clergy used his influence to mobilize the entire community. And they fixed a date, they invited me to my own event, and the funds we donated on that day, the people were able to match our donation 1-to-1, and this entire school was furnished. As I reflect on this experience today, there's one important learning that comes to mind. This was only possible because I learned to listen to the contribution of the clergy. So learning to listen to the contribution of others is an important aspect of leadership. And you see, the problem is, most of the times when we think about leadership, we feel a leader should always be the one standing when everybody else is sitting. We feel a leader must always be the one in the front while everybody else is behind. But sometimes, it's okay to take a step back, identify people that have more influence than you, equip them with your message of change, and those individuals will be able to carry that message farther than you would if you were in that position. A couple of days later, we identified another school. This time around in Akko Local Government, or Rotaract, as it is called internally. This school has been existing for close to a decade. They had no roof, had no doors, had no windows. So you can begin to imagine what happens in the rainy season, right? Most of us who didn't like school during the elementary days would love to be in schools like this, because once it's rainy season, it's time to go home. Again, we mobilize volunteers, mobilize community members, and with support from our network in Australia, we were able to provide doors, windows, and roofing for this particular school. Again, as I reflect on this incident today, it's pretty obvious that while we were providing roof, windows, and doors, we were actually supporting the growth of the student in that particular school. And that's the second learning task. But again, after a while, we noticed the level at which young women who have dropped out of school are unemployed. And we thought about coming up with this idea of setting up a Literacy and Vocational Training Center here in Gombe. To achieve that, we developed partnership with Rotary International, Rotary Club of Glenferrie in Melbourne, Australia, the local YMCA Youth Club, the local Rotary Club, and together we were able to establish a vocational training center for young women. Today we have women who have graduated from this center and have become employers of labor. The point here is, as we learn to listen to the contribution of others, we are exercising leadership. As we learn to support the growth of others, that's leadership. As we learn to develop partnerships and collaborations, that's collective leadership. So if we think about shaping the future as far as this thing is concerned, there is that obvious need for us to have a routine around our understanding of leadership. You see, conventionally, whenever the word leadership is mentioned, we think about positions of power, positions of authority, the office and individuals of power. The problem with that line of thinking is it has led to the proliferation of what I call leaders learning to lead. And what that means is you have individuals who will do anything just to occupy these formal positions of power and authority. Unfortunately, once they are here, they have no idea what to lead, and they begin to learn how to lead while occupying these positions of power. And you can begin to imagine the amount of disaster that brings. But what if we let go of this traditional ideology around leadership and embrace this transformative idea, which is learning as a way of living? You see, what that means is we will be producing what I call learning leaders. And there's a huge difference between learning leaders and leaders learning to lead. You see, with learning leaders, I'm talking about each and every one of us here, you and me, everyday citizens that have no positions of power and authority, that are committed to listening to the contribution of others, are committed to supporting the growth of others, are committed to developing partnerships and collaborations for collective leadership. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a choice today to hold on to the traditional ideologies around leadership and continue to produce leaders learning to lead, or to embrace this ideology of learning as a way of living so we can begin to produce learning leaders. The choice is ours. And I really hope that the conversations we are having today and the genuine interest that each and every one of us has to develop our communities will inform the choices we make. In the end, it is more important to have learning leaders than to have leaders learning to lead. Thank you for your time.